Hello students. Now our topic is ecosystem and what are its components. First, let us start with the term ecosystem. Students, an ecosystem includes all the living things like plants and animals, including human beings and microorganisms present in an area, and these organisms interact with each other as well as with the non-living constituents of that area. Okay, so all the interacting organisms in an area together with the non-living constituents of the environment form an ecosystem. All these organisms depend on each other as well as on non-living things. What are these non-living things? These non-living things are water, air, sunlight, humidity, pressure, etc. Why these organisms depend on these water, air, sunlight, etc. for their growth, reproduction and other activities. In an ecosystem, all the biotic and abiotic, biotic means living and abiotic means non-living components, interact with each other and maintain a balance in the environment through energy flow and nutrient cycling. Energy flow means who eats whom, how energy flows from one organism to another organism, and nutrient cycling means the recycling of various nutrients like oxygen, carbon. You have studied in class 9th now, biogeochemical cycles. So through these cycles, these nutrients cycle, revolves between biotic and abiotic components. So an ecosystem is a self-sustained functional unit of environment. What are the examples of ecosystem? Forests, lakes, deserts, garden, crop fields, river, aquarium, pond and many more. These are all the examples of ecosystem. Now our topic is types of ecosystem. Based on the formation of ecosystem, there are two types of ecosystem: natural and second is artificial, which are man-made. The examples of natural ecosystems are pond, forest, lake, desert, river, which are naturally present. Okay, and artificial ecosystems are created by human beings like crop fields, aquarium, garden. On the basis of kind of habitat, we can divide ecosystems into two groups, that is terrestrial and aquatic. These natural system may be terrestrial or aquatic. Terrestrial means on land and aquatic means in water. So examples of natural terrestrial ecosystem are forest, desert. Okay, and natural aquatic systems are river, lake, oceans. Okay, then artificial ecosystems may be terrestrial or aquatic. If artificial ecosystem is terrestrial, then example is crop field, garden. If artificial ecosystem is aquatic, then example is aquarium or any man-made ponds. Okay, so we can divide ecosystem on the basis of their formation as well as on the basis of their habitat. Now our next topic is the components of ecosystem. There are two main components of ecosystem: biotic components and abiotic components. So I have shown this ecosystem is equals to biotic components plus abiotic components. Biotic living components, abiotic non-living components. Students, what are these biotic components? Based on the food habits, we can divide these biotic components into many subgroups like producers, consumers, decomposers. Okay, let us study them one by one. First is producers. The organisms which can make their own food by the process of photosynthesis. So many times you have studied these terms. Okay, and examples are green plants and blue-green algae. Producers are direct or indirect source of food for all the organisms. They also maintain oxygen and carbon dioxide levels in the environment. So, and these are also called autotrophs. Why? Because they produce their own food. Now, next is consumers. Organisms which are dependent on others for their food. They do not prepare their own food. These are consumers, and they are also called heterotrophs. Their examples may be herbivores, carnivores, omnivores, parasites. These all are the examples of consumers. Next is decomposers. The organisms which break the complex organic materials of dead and decaying plants and animals into inorganic forms, they are called decomposers. Okay, and the examples are fungi and bacteria. They are also called saprotrophs because they obtain their food from dead and decaying organic matter. So now I'll tell you the importance of decomposers for the environment. In the absence of decomposers, the garbage heaps, dead animals and plants will remain as such and become the breeding ground for several disease causing germs. Also, there would be no recycling of nutrients in the ecosystem in the absence of these decomposers. So these decomposers help in the cleaning of the environment as well as the recycling of the nutrients. Now, what are the abiotic components, non-living components of the ecosystem? There are three abiotic components. First is climatic factors, temperature, humidity, sunlight and wind. Second is organic compounds. Organic compounds like carbohydrates, fats, proteins, which are present in our body. And third is inorganic compounds like carbon, oxygen, nitrogen, sodium, potassium, calcium, etc. These all are the inorganic compounds. All these three are the abiotic components of ecosystem. Now, our last topic today is functioning of ecosystem. Students, this is the flow chart which shows the functioning of ecosystem. An ecosystem functions as an independent or self-sufficient unit in nature. How? Producers absorb carbon dioxide and water from the environment. With the help of sunlight, they convert these inorganic substances into organic compounds, okay, like carbohydrates, okay, which act as food for consumers. Consumers are directly or indirectly dependent on producers for their energy needs as they get food from them. The consumers utilize the energy stored by the producers. When the producers and consumers die, decomposers act on their body and replenish the various nutrients elements back to their original pools. Their original pools are soil, water and air. These nutrients again used by the producers during photosynthesis. In this way, there is an exchange of energy and matter between biotic and abiotic components of ecosystem. This is the functioning of ecosystem.